And we're back. And as we said before the break, we are now going to be talking all about the first International Day for Women in Maritime. And joining us in our studio to talk all about this special day, we have Stacey Swift from the Belize Port Authority and National Liaison. And we also have Shadi Reyes from the Belize Coast Guard.
Welcome, ladies.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
So, International Day of Women in Maritime. First International Day.
Yes, that's correct. So the International Maritime Organization last year adopted International Day for Women in Maritime. So it's a day designated to honor women contribution and achievement to the maritime sector. It's also in accordance to the Sustainable Development Goal, that's number 5, gender equality, to actually empower women and young females in the maritime sector. So we want to promote this event. It's the first time for Belize to actually host this event. So we want to promote it, and we want to encourage everybody to be involved, because it's not only about empowering female, it's also to ensure that whatever we do, we have the male counterpart to support us as well.
So what activities and what is the lineup for International Day for Women in Maritime in Belize?
All right, so on Wednesday, we have International Women in Maritime Day. We have dynamic speakers, the President for Women in Maritime Association for Caribbean. We have speech by Mr. Nowak, who is from Cocatram, who is from Mesoamerica, who is also supporting this initiative to develop a national chapter for Belize. We also have special recognition to all female in the maritime sector and maritime agencies who would want to take advantage to actually acknowledge a female in their sector. It will be open up to them. But special highlight, I must say, is that the Belize Port Authority, on behalf of the Minister responsible for Maritime and Port, Shabat, and the Port Authority, will be launching a scholarship opportunity for a female national to pursue a maritime degree at the Caribbean Maritime University in Jamaica.
Wow.
So we have a lot coming
yes.
soon.
As women in the maritime sector, I would imagine that you all have extensive years in this field. How do you see those developmental changes taking place from when you started versus now as Belize hosting the first International Day?
I could highlight, well, when I got involved in the maritime sector, it was in 2004, fresh out of high school.
Wow.
I had no knowledge of maritime any at all. And that's why I'm imploring other younger females to take advantage of this career. This is my first job. I have been there 18 years. So definitely I could see whereby it contributed to my development, my perspective on how it's important to empower female within the maritime sector. So I want to encourage more females to get involved and take advantage of this opportunity. There's a lot of career opportunities that Belizeans are missing out, and we need them to be on board with us.
Shadi, what about yourself?
Well, we have been, women have been participating in all areas in the maritime within the Belize Coast Guard. We have had extensive participation, extensive development. To say that one of the major achievements was the Women, Peace and Security policy that we Ms. Alma Pinello launched last year. But there's still more to be done. There's still more women to participate, because yes, there is participation, but there's not enough women participation.
And, you know, in your experience, let's talk, I guess, just about your particular, your job, let's say at the Coast Guard. Would you say that it's still a male-dominated sort of profession?
It is.
And how has that experience been like, you know, for you as a woman working, you know, over the years, working with majority males?
I guess I've never had a major incident or anything where I was put in a position where I had to reiterate, oh, I'm a woman, and then you need to respect me because I'm a woman. But yes, we have to have certain balance and certain ways that we should act as women, because at the end of the day, it's a male-dominated organization.
What is it that you do as your job at the Coast Guard?
Well, at the moment, I'm the adjutant of the Belize Coast Guard. I deal with welfare, personnel administration, and discipline of the Belize Coast Guard.
You discipline all them, man? Proud of you. Yes. So for those of us that are viewing, right, what other jobs, because I know you were talking about other job sectors within the maritime field, but for us in Belize, we kind of only see Coast Guard as that job, or if you're a marine scientist or something like that. So what other jobs could you tell our viewers out there that would be in the maritime field?
Well, if we look at the Belize Port Authority, we have port state control officers, and we have 2 female port state control officers. So these are the persons that go on board foreign ships and board these vessels to ensure that they're compliant with the international conventions and the local regulations for Belize. We also have vessel inspectors. So those are the ones that actually board the domestic vessels to ensure that they're in compliance, like the water taxi operations, the fishing vessels. We lack maritime lawyers. So we need more opportunities available to have female pursue careers like maritime lawyers, naval architect, marine surveyors, boat builders. So there's a lot of opportunity that we're not seeing dominated by females. So we want to capitalize on this opportunity to actually bring awareness to them.
What makes the job at in the maritime sector so appealing and inviting, in your opinion?
I believe everything, because it comes from the fact that you are out there, that you can pursue a field job to probably an office work. Because if you're more the type that wants to do office work, then you can pursue a career there. Or if you want to be out in the field, for instance, in the Belize Coast Guard, we have patrol commanders, we have sector commanders. As women, we have engineers, we have clerks, and many other careers where you can pursue a career, and it's not only limited to one. And we're even opening recently, it is in a command plan to open a persecution branch for the Belize Coast Guard, and women will also have that opportunity there because it's about equal rights.
And does celebrating or commemorating a day like this is a big part of it also the chance to sort of share experiences with other women who are in the sector? And are you sort of looking forward to that aspect of this, let's say, celebration?
I'm looking forward to the networking, definitely, because that is important. That is the only way we could promote the sector, but also promote each other, because sometimes we don't recognize ourselves. And so with the theme for this year International Women in Maritime Day is training, visibility, recognition. You know, setting the stage for a barrier-free environment so that all of us could work in the sector. So again, you have to love what you do. And when you have a passion for what you do, then it makes it easier.
Do you feel that within the field there are gender biases, in the sense of there will be perhaps one job that is only restricted for males?
Worldwide, yes, but it's something that we're trying to do to break the barriers. Because if we look at the Belize Port Authority, it took like 30-something years to have a female ports commissioner. So that speaks volume of the need and the importance for the empowerment of more women in the sector.
I mean, I don't know if this is a question for you, but do you know more or less how many women do work in the maritime sector?
So based on this opening ceremony, it's actually to start to do the network. And we're going to do a baseline survey where we get the agencies involved and for them to provide us with the information so we could build our database with women in the sector. But for the Belize Port Authority, I must say that 50% in the managerial level is female. And then on a whole, in terms of the organization, we have 49% female. And right now, as the organization, we have a male ports commissioner, we have a male minister, we have a male CEO, we have a male chairman. But what is important is that they're supporting us, right? They're supporting the development of women and also pledge to actually develop a national chapter for women in Belize.
Nice. When it comes to the percentage, do you find that there are more women that are signing up to be a part of like Coast Guard or to be a part of other sectors in the Belize Port Authority?
Well, in the Coast Guard, yes.
Okay.
Yes, there are more women participating in leadership roles and wanting to be part of leadership roles. Recently, we have increased a lot of from probably to only having 3 females in the leadership positions to having about 8 females in leadership positions. So we are getting there.
Yeah.
It is going slow, but we do have progress.
And also, what about like new recruits or people who are willing to join? Do you find that there's a good interest among females willing to join the Coast Guard as well?
Yes, there's a lot of interest. As a matter of fact, women see the Coast Guard as a career. Like I said before, they not only see as the Coast Guard is just a job. It's a career because the Belize Coast Guard is a career.
So yesterday we had members of the Trade Winds 2022 join us on this show. And this is not something that I asked them, but I suppose I can ask you, are there any females that are taking part in Trade Winds?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. She said it with... How has that been for them?
Trade Winds is an exercise that is usually held within the Caribbean and Caribbean community countries. It is held by the U.S. Coast Guard. And women participation, I think the first time women participated was when I went to Trade Winds in 2018.
Wow.
That was
Very
St.
recently.
Vincent. St. Vincent. Yeah, and since then we have had women participation, but women are participating in the operational level, command level, in every level they're participating.
Okay.
So we're seeing progress with it, and
Okay. I like it.
And you know, one of the aspects of the theme this year also spoke to visibility. Do you find also that in recent times that you've also been able to, or that women are visible enough in this sector, based on your experience? Are you seeing women in positions of power, for example, or even just in numbers, so that you feel that you're not the odd ones out?
Most definitely. As I mentioned, the International Maritime Organization, they have a women development program. And so many times us as female participate in those programs. They have a program coming up in port management in Le Havre, France. So we're appointing an officer to actually attend that course. So definitely, because of the International Maritime Organization and also Women in Maritime Association, they're kind of highlighting the importance of women development in this sector, and then also to see what scholarship opportunities are available. I just want to highlight when the first inception of the Women in Maritime Association, they had 2 competitions. They had a logo competition and they had a regional essay competition. And it's surprising to say that although we don't have maritime curriculum incorporated in the institution of Belize, 2 female Belizean won those competitions, right? So I must highlight that, we are talented. There are many opportunities available for females and even our male counterpart, because we don't want to leave them out as well.
So what would you say would be the right qualifications to begin your career in maritime?
In terms of qualification, what the Belize Port Authority have been doing, as you mentioned, in terms of recruit, we just recently recruit some applicants to be a part of our organization. So we have an apprentice marine law enforcement course. And so with that, when they come in, they actually learn the trade in terms of seamanship, because sometimes when you go into a organization, you automatically place in certain positions and you don't know nothing about maritime.
Yeah.
So we're giving the exposure to them to take advantage of the course.
And what about, have you ever experienced, or do you know of any sort of experience where there has been any sort of negative, perhaps let's say discrimination, or you know, maybe especially in a field like the Coast Guard, where you know, you think of the you know, that sort of military sort of culture as being, you know, not too friendly to women in the past, at least. Have any of you ever experienced or know of experience of people who've gone through any sort of negative experience based on the fact that, you know, they may be discriminated against because they're women, or maybe been excluded from certain jobs or activities?
I think that's a very interesting question. However, yes, I have seen cases where women have been excluded from particular jobs because of the simple reason that
They're women.
they're women. Yeah, and that's why we, the WPS was recently launched to provide equity and equality for women within the security services, which is the Coast Guard, BDF, and police. So, and we fall under the maritime sector as well.
For the International Day of Women in Maritime, I know that there are a lot of social media activities and so forth that are in support of women in maritime. Can you talk to us more about those activities?
Well, in terms of the activities, we're trying to see how much we could garner the support of the public. We want to bring awareness, and so that's why we find it necessary to actually come on the talk show to promote the maritime sector, and then also to build the momentum, because coming up in June we have Seafarers Day, and then in September we have World Maritime Day. So we want to share our highlight in terms of what it is that we do in our organization and how we could bring more awareness to the sector.
Apart from the ceremony, is there anything else that we should look forward to?
Right now, apart from the ceremony, that's just the continuation.
Okay.
Because we want this ceremony to open up more opportunities. And so, like I mentioned, after the ceremony, we're going to open up whereby they could submit application in terms of the scholarship opportunity that the Belize Port Authority will be offering.
Okay.
And about those, let's say, opportunities, what would you say to maybe young people or young women who might be kind of interested, but they don't really know what sort of jobs are open in the maritime sector? Can you give a little bit of, you know, what are the opportunities that are open?
If I want to apply right now for a job at BPA or in the Coast Guard, what is it that I can do?
Well, like I mentioned,
I am an unskilled civilian that wants to work for BPA. What is there for me to do?
First of all, you'll come in as an apprentice, as I mentioned to you, because you need to know more or less what it is about maritime. And then afterwards, based on your qualification, because we want to know what it is that you bring to our organization. Okay. So based on your qualification, we will place you, because we have different area apart from the operations side. For example, I'm the documentation manager. So I deal with licensing and certification of vessels and masters. I also head the information technology unit. So you have accounts, you have services and standards department, and then you have the operations department. So if you're a field officer and you want to go on the sea, you don't want to be probably behind the desk, then you could be a seafarer, you could be a vessel inspectorate, you could be a port state control officer, you could be a hydrographer, you could be an ATON manager, you could be a port inspector. So there's a lot of opportunity available, even as is at the Belize Port Authority.
And
so you could send in your application if you're interested.
What would you say to like encourage people to join?
Well, the first thing that you have to do whenever there is an intake, you send in your application, resume, ID and send your entire package to the Coast Guard. From there, the process, we revise it, we see whether the package is complete, then proceed to, the package is complete, we will publish your name in the Anala newspaper or on different news yeah. So and after that, well, then you come in for a one-day event, which you would have to take a physical exam. It's running and swimming, and then a written exam. After that, we revise everything. It is checked by somebody from education. The written exam is checked by somebody from education department. And after getting the results, usually the people with the highest grade, they're the ones that they're called, and they're told to report to a certain location, and they go through 3 months recruit training. The 3 months recruit training is very intense. It is physically demanding because you have to be physically fit. And it has 2 phases. It has a military phase and it has a maritime phase as well. So if you do complete that, then you enter the Coast Guard as a seaman apprentice. You still remain on 6 months probation, and then you get promoted to seaman if you pass those 6 months probation.
So you put me through all of that for 3 months, and then you are putting me through our next thing for 6 months?
Yes, because you're supposed to get skilled and learn to handle a weapon. We want to see what you can bring to the organization. And probably if you bring another skill, let us say you're an engineer, we would place you in the engineering department after those 6 months.
Okay.
And you know, what would you say to somebody, like let's say a woman who say, okay, that sounds too difficult, or I can't do that. You know?
I would tell them it's not difficult. The mind is very strong, and if you put it to yourself, if you tell it yourself, I'm going to do it, you will do it, because it's all about
Discipline,
Motivation.
grit.
Right.
Yes, having grit.
Said like a true Coast Guard officer. But right now we want to show you all a clip that was given to us by IMO in honor and tribute to International Day of Women in Maritime. So check that out. And when we're done, we'll get back for further discussion.
The maritime world is changing, and for the better. With help from IMO, exciting and rewarding career opportunities are opening up for women, and a new generation of strong and talented women are responding. They're proving that, in today's world, the maritime industries are for everyone. It's not about your gender, it's about what you can do.
It started as a challenge. They were looking for a male to do what I'm doing, and I challenged them that I as a female can, and I have, and I do.
I'm the first female to have been appointed the Managing Director of Nigerian Ports in its 63 years of existence.
We see more women involved in different departments within the maritime industry. We don't see them in the conventional roles anymore, where cooks and clerks. We see them in engineering, we see them going to sea, you see them in the radio rooms, in communications and intelligence, so it's definitely improved.
Apart from the social imperative to promote diversity in the 21st century, supply and demand in the labor force dictate that the industry simply cannot afford to ignore women, a huge potential workforce. Girls and women today have many options, and they are now strong role models in the maritime sector, but many barriers still need to be overcome.
Well, I would say there are opportunities for women, but those opportunities are not equal. The sector as it is generally has a way of discriminating against women, but as women we need not to allow that or accept it, but we need to sort of kick the doors open and get ourselves accepted in the industry.
We need to be more sustainable. We cannot continue leaving aside 50% of the population.
There's still a lack of awareness of the dynamics of what women bring to the table in the maritime sector.
At first, when I was growing up, I didn't know that there was opportunities to come in the maritime industry, and I didn't know that, hey, females were allowed to be a part of it.
We haven't been using the world's talent pool. I think it's a huge potential in actually starting to get a lot more diversity into the shipping business.
The demand since 2015, we have less officers representing than the demand actually requires. To fill that, we're going to have to look outside of our traditional boundaries, and I think where we're going to find that is incorporating more women into the industry.
IMO's gender program has already been running for more than 30 years. When it began, women were often actively prevented from participating in the maritime sector. Training and education opportunities were restricted to males only. So IMO set about changing it in a systematic and targeted way.
As IMO's lead on Women in Maritime, it's been amazing to meet so many women who have benefited from the program over the years, and to hear their amazing stories. The program really has made a difference to so many people.
Today, female participation at IMO's own maritime education institutions is at a record level. The World Maritime University has more than 1,000 female graduates, and IMO's International Maritime Law Institute, IMLI, has become the first UN body to include a requirement that 50% of its places must be reserved for women.
I've acquired a lot of knowledge, both theoretical and practical knowledge, from the World Maritime University that I use in my day-to-day role as the Director General of the National Fisheries.
I think that IMO has described some very strategic approach to educating and training women, and I think it's one that's enviable.
I applied to IMLI, applied for a scholarship, and I was one of the recipients of an IMO fellowship, which is great, but you don't always hear something that says reserved for women. So I was very happy to have received that scholarship from the IMO so I could pursue my studies at IMLI.
So I applied to the World Maritime University, I got a fellowship, and since graduating from the World Maritime University, my career has really skyrocketed.
I believe that IMO invested in women in port management is very important and will make a difference.
We have engineers in our engineering department, and we have a lot of ladies with us now.
I think organizations and associations like WMAC definitely help. Networking is very important.
And it has also opened up a lot of networks and access to professional and personal growth and access to other women in the industry.
Now there are students in high school that are finding out about the maritime industry now, and that's all because of WMAC and the IMO.
Women in maritime today are strong, powerful, and constantly challenging old-fashioned perceptions. Women in maritime are standing up for themselves and showing that what matters is not who you are, it's what you can do.
Women are strong, we are wonderful. The women I have worked with in this industry so far they're superstars. They're amazing people, they do a fantastic job, and we learn so much from one another.
We all have the same brain, we can think, we're sharp, we're bright. It requires innovative thinkers, and women are that.
I do operations, search and rescue. I am out there with the guys, taking control.
Diversity means better. That's a fact. It's better for teamwork, better for leadership, and better for profits.
Diversity is good business anywhere. The research shows that companies that have more diverse structures are more profitable.
A modern workplace demands modern practices.
What we're looking for is equal opportunities, equal pay, and recognition.
I think there are a lot of men out there who want to see more women in the workforce. They understand the importance of diversity, how that helps their own teams.
Diversity in any form, whether it's race, religion, cultural background, sexual orientation, whatever it is, it brings something special into the organization.
On board, it's like a mini United Nations. We work with many, many different nationalities, male and female, and nobody really seems to care about gender. It's who you are and the job that you do that matters.
We work differently today. For sustainability and success in the modern world, shipping needs women in the workforce, and women helping to drive the decision-making process.
Women have crucial role to play in the sector, and it must not be overlooked. They must be part of the decision-making process.
I think there is definitely a push to see more women engaged in the maritime industry.
Jump on board. I think you really have to seek those opportunities that challenge you out of your comfort zone.
We as female, we are strong enough to stand our ground and show them that we could do the same type of work that a male will put to execute.
Technology is forcing us to understand that the nature of how we do work today is different.
Shipping can provide meaningful and long careers for women and young people in general, and this is what we should promote.
In my opinion, there's never been a better time to close the gender gap, and I would encourage all to get on board with gender equality.
It's a good job, it's a lucrative job, and everything is possible. That's all I can say. So go out to sea.
Hey, ladies, thoughts? It was lovely to see a representative from Belize in that video.
Definitely. And it highlights also what it is that sometimes they themselves are experiencing within the industry. And so it's definitely to highlight gender equality.
Now, how does it, how does it feel to watch it knowing that there's a big international push then for more equality in your sector?
I believe it is great because with international support, I think we can get more done. I think we have come a long way from where we have started and to where we are now.
100% agree. Ladies, for wrapping up, we're closing off now. Tell us more where we can find the ceremony, what time does it start, and where we can view it.
The ceremony will start on Wednesday, the 18th of May at 9 a.m. on Channel 5. So it's going to be virtual. So we have put out there the link, so definitely take advantage of the link and then come and support us because we want for you to take the leap with us. We want for you to be the champions of tomorrow.
All right, well, you heard it here first, folks. Tomorrow, May 18th, 9 a.m., International Day for Women in Maritime. You can catch it on live stream on News 5 Live, on Channel 5, and on your YouTube feed. So with that, we're going to take a short break, and when we get back, we'll tune into our next conversation for this morning.